We know what you're all waiting for. It's March. March Madness starts Thursday.
Cue the CBS theme song, but don't because
But yeah,
copyright.
we don't have the money to pay CBS.
Yes.
So, but yeah, crazy um, conference tournaments. Our team Auburn
21
won the.
seeds lost in conference tournaments. 20.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the first time the SEC in year I think 2016 or something that
It's been a while,
no
yeah.
one seed was in contention. But yeah, crazy games. So we'll just get right into our picks.
Bracket time.
It is bracket time. It's time where we get ripped on every social media platform for whatever we picked, whether it's Stetson beating UConn or UConn beating Stetson. So we'll start in the East.
Stetson by 30.
We'll start in the East. How did your East shake up?
Well, this quite simply is the region of death. You have 4 conference tournament champions here with UConn out of the Big East, Auburn out of the SEC, Illinois out of the Big Ten, and Iowa State out of the Big 12. Iowa State is a team that I was not super familiar with until a couple weeks ago, and since I've started watching them, I love this team a lot. They play absolutely lockdown defense. They're very similar stylistically to Auburn. I think those two teams you have a lot of similarities with each other. I do think they are your Elite Eight matchup from this region. I think Auburn knocks off UConn. I think Iowa State knocks off Illinois. But this is honestly a Final Four. UConn, Auburn, Iowa State, and Illinois is a Final Four caliber set of 4 teams in its own right. So to stick them all in one region is absolutely brutal. But I think Auburn's going to come out on top of it because I like the way this team has been playing recently. I know they were up and down for some of SEC play, but the last few weeks they have really locked in. Bruce Pearl has them locked in right now. They played exceptionally in the SEC tournament, absolutely shutting down what had been a red-hot Florida team as well. So I think this team has the defense. Something I wouldn't have said weeks ago, but I can say now is they have the scoring as well. I think this team is built to win in March, and because of that, I think they're going to come out on the top of this region.
I kind of did not on purpose, but almost the opposite of you. I have Illinois going to the Sweet 16 with Iowa State, but I have Illinois besting Iowa State. I don't really have any. I don't think I have a single upset. Yeah, no upsets in this region.
I have Northwestern over FAU.
That's it. That's a toss up pick 'em. I have FAU. UAB, San Diego State. People were talking about. I think SDSU gets past them. And then here's one that you're not gonna like. I have San Diego State over Auburn in the second round, round of
I
32.
think Auburn could be susceptible, but not to a team like San Diego State. I don't think that style of play is going to be able to beat Auburn.
It's just if the Auburn played the way they played the last 3 games, I don't see them having an issue.
You look at the teams that have given Auburn trouble, though, this year, it's Alabama, it's Kentucky, it's Florida. These high scoring, high paced defenses, and that is not what you get from San Diego State. So I think they're safe there.
No, but Auburn has a tendency to sometimes not be Auburn. They're not. I need to see the consistency. So I don't. If they are consistent, they're fine. They're great. They have more depth than any team in the tournament.
For
but
sure.
I just haven't seen the consistency that I want to. So I'm giving SDSU the nod, and then SDSU beats UConn.
Dang, you love the Aztecs.
Yep, let's go to the Sweet 16. You mentioned it. I mean, Auburn, UConn. You had Auburn, so if SDSU could beat Auburn, why not beat UConn? But I have Illinois coming out on top in the East. So Illinois is my Final Four pick from them. The South have Houston coming out, but I'll go into further detail. I think Houston's that good. Nebraska, Texas A&M, another toss up. I'm going Nebraska.
I am as well.
I like Boots Radford, but I'm just going Nebraska.
I would say Wade Taylor. You got to watch out for. If Wade Taylor gets hot, that's how Texas A&M wins this game.
Texas A&M wins if they get on runs. They're a team that has to get on runs to beat this.
I would say expect this to be a high scoring game for sure.
Yes, and then Wisconsin versus Madison. I have Wisconsin, Duke over Vermont, NC State over Texas Tech is the first big upset I have. Then I have NC State beating Kentucky.
Wow.
Yep, in the round of 32, and then I have Florida over Colorado or Boise, and then I have Marquette over Florida, and then I have Marquette over NC State. So I have Marquette, Houston. Well, I have Houston over Wisconsin and Duke. I have Wisconsin. Then I have Houston, Marquette, and I just went Houston.
I also have Houston coming out on top in this region, but I think the team they beat to do it is the Florida Gators. I think this guard play for Florida is absolutely elite. The trio of Walter Clayton Jr., Zion Pullen, and Will Richard has been great all season for the Gators. The loss of Micah Hanlongton is big, but the backup center they have in Alex Condon is a better scorer and a better defender than Han Longton. What you lose with Han Longton is that ability to go up and get the offensive rebounds, which I think will be a reason Florida can't make a Final Four run. Otherwise, I would be tempted to take them even there because of this guard play. But I think they're good enough to beat Marquette for sure. I think they're good enough to beat Kentucky. They have already this season. They went 1-1 in that season series, but I think Houston is just a buzzsaw. I don't think any team from this region is built to beat Houston. I don't think any team from this region does beat Houston. But I also have Wisconsin beating Duke in this section of the bracket. I have Kentucky knocking off Texas Tech after they beat NC State. I just think the Wolfpack are going to be too tired after that crazy ACC tournament run. And
I
then
think they use it. That's why I have. I think they use it.
yeah,
Hot. When
it's
you're hot,
possible
it's
too.
But can you do me a favor? Can you take off your Tim Tebow glasses when we do things like this? Because I mean, come on now.
I mean, if you want to ignore what's been one of the hottest teams in the country the past month, feel free.
I mean, I like Florida as much as the next guy, but
If this
Marquette Florida's a. It's
if
not
this team is on shooting and
on their own.
Todd Golden is going to have them ready to go. I trust Todd Golden a lot. I think he's been a great coach for the Gators so far. I think if he has them ready to go, this is a team that's going to make a deep run.
Okay. We'll have to see. Let's go to the West Division. Let's see. I got Arizona. I know a lot of people are down in Arizona right now.
That's crazy, no, because I have Long Beach State winning this
You
region.
have Long Beach State?
No.
Yeah? No, I know. We know that. But you would be the guy to put
I would.
Long Beach State winning this. But I have
Sure vibes.
Arizona coming on top out of over North Carolina. I have Michigan State besting Mississippi State. I just don't see Mississippi State being able to keep up. And Michigan State's a team that when they're a lower seed or they're down in the tournament, they seem to find a way to win. And I see that continuing. St. Mary's over Grand Canyon. Alabama over Charleston. New Mexico over Clemson. That's my
Yeah.
pick. 11-6. That's a popular pick. It seems like I know a lot of people are going New Mexico.
New Mexico
Clemson.
is coming off of winning the Mountain West tournament, and they're rated super highly in the net. They're 22nd in the net, and this is a Clemson team that had a rough end of the season, getting bounced in the first round of their conference tournament by Boston College. So I think that's why this is a very popular pick, and I have it as well.
But I have New Mexico beating Baylor and making it to the Sweet 16. A lot of people probably don't have, but I do have them beating Baylor and going to the Sweet 16 to get beat by Arizona. Then I have Nevada over Dayton, and you don't.
I do not.
Yeah, you have Dayton just up the round of 32?
No, I have Dayton going to the Sweet 16, actually. I think this Arizona team is, if you want to make a blueprint on how to upset a team, you make Arizona. Because if Caleb Love has an off night, they are super susceptible. And I think that's very possible that happens in this tournament. And I like this Dayton team. I think a lot of people are down on them right now because of a couple lackluster weeks they had to end the season. But I think that this is a team that can do work in March. They're a very solid team. They're 7 seed for a reason as a mid-major. And then this Nevada team comes out of a great Mountain West. I think whoever wins this Dayton-Nevada game beats Arizona regardless. But at least for me, it's going to be Dayton. And then I have Dayton losing to Baylor, though. I have the Baylor-New Mexico matchup you talked about as well. I have St. Mary's beating Alabama.
Yep.
And
that one too. I think that one's the most interesting 5-4 matchup if we get them.
Yeah.
St. Mary's over Alabama.
Such differing play styles of those two teams. St. Mary's really going to slow it down. Alabama going to push the pace, and I think that's really going to bite Alabama in this one. Because if you slow them down and get their guards slowed down, they don't really win games that
Or if
much.
they're just off. If the threes aren't landing, they don't win. They have to have the threes landing to win. And I don't see the threes being able to land every game they play this tournament.
No.
So if they don't lose to St. Mary's, they'll lose shortly after.
But then I have North Carolina coming through and winning this quarter of the bracket. I think they beat Mississippi State, who I've beating Michigan State. I think they beat St. Mary's, and I think they beat Baylor.
You are fairly tame for the person I know that normally makes picks like this. You are very, very chalk. So I'm interested to see what you got for the Midwest.
I picked a 4 seed and 2 1s. That's
Yeah, but I'm just talking about like you're coming out into the Final Four. It's a lot of 1 seeds, the 1s and 2 seeds. And stuff.
well, historically that has been the case, despite early round upsets. So.
Well, the cream will rise. Midwest Final Division, which is, Purdue. They just gave them one, right?
Yeah, I'm so chalk that I actually have 8 seed Utah State beating TCU and Purdue. So
I did.
this is where the chaos happens.
I have
think.
Utah State beating TCU, beating Purdue, beating Gonzaga, and then they get beat by Creighton.
I
Creighton's really
also
good
have
on
that exact same thing happening. I think Creighton's just too good. I like this Utah State team a lot, though. Won the regular season title in what, again, is a very solid Mountain West conference. So I think people are going to be sleeping on the Aggies a little bit coming into this, and I think they're going to pay for it. I think Purdue, it's a believe it when I see it thing with Purdue in March at this point. They lose so frequently in these type of tournament
Mhm.
settings. I could just see it happening again. I think Samford takes out Kansas in the first round. We saw a 4 go down to a 13 from the Southern Conference last year, and Virginia losing to the Fighting Paladins of Furman. So I think that the Samford Bulldogs are going to be ready to go in this one. I think they beat Kansas. This is a Kansas team that when they aren't playing in their own building are not close to the same team they are in Allen Fieldhouse. And then with the injuries they're dealing with, I think they're built to upset. Then I have Gonzaga beating Samford. I have South Carolina over Oregon, which I know Oregon's a very popular upset pick for that.
I have Oregon.
I do think South Carolina's good enough to win that game, though, but I think they get the doors blown off of them by Creighton, frankly. Then I have the winner of Virginia and Colorado State beating Texas. I think both of those teams are better than the Longhorns. And then no Linsanity run for St. Peter's this year, as I have them dropping the first game to Tennessee, who then beats the winner of UVA Colorado State before losing to Creighton. And then in the region final, give me Creighton over Utah State.
Yeah, our finals are the same for that. I have Creighton over Utah State. I do have Oregon over South Carolina and Texas over the winner of UVA and Colorado State. Um, and I have Kansas over Samford. That one I'm really tempted to change though, just because of the injuries Kansas has. I think there's a chance that one or both may play, but they're not going to be themselves. So I have to see. And then my final four is Illinois and Arizona, and then Houston and Creighton. I have Illinois beating Arizona, and last time I took Illinois in a game like this, it bit me really early. This was two years ago, I believe. And then I have Houston and Creighton. I have Houston going, so I have Houston and Illinois in the final, and Houston's my national champion.
I also have a Houston Creighton Final Four matchup that I think Houston wins as well. But my other side of the Final Four is Auburn coming out over North Carolina. I just think, like I said earlier, this Auburn team is locked in right now. And when they're playing complete basketball, they are a national title type of team because of that depth, which is something that not a lot of these other teams are going to have. And then I think they beat Houston because we just saw the recipe for beating Houston from Iowa State, who, in my version of this bracket, Auburn just takes down 1 or 2 games prior to this. So this style of team that Auburn Iowa State is, this lockdown defense type of team, which is similar style to what Houston plays, that is what Houston can be susceptible to. Because if you're able to hold Houston to where they aren't getting their shots to fall, this isn't the type of team that can really go on those kill shot runs you talk about of like a 10-0 or larger run. And I think Auburn's defense is really going to be able to take advantage of that. So give me Auburn for the national title this year.
Yeah, I mean Auburn's definitely a team that can kind of hand out those kill shot runs. We saw it time and time again in the SEC.
You saw it versus
tournament.
Florida. Florida
Yeah.
brought it back within one, then Auburn stretched it right back out again, and from there the Gators were done.
Oh yeah, and that's just Bruce Pearl's style of play. The press defense, like I mean, just after Florida came back from the injury timeout, and the whole building was kind of like in like shock and sullen about this player and all this, and they were kind of what are we gonna do now? And we got to adjust. I mean, Bruce Pearl didn't care. He was pressing that play. I mean,
Yeah.
right from the gate. So they're relentless. They don't let up. They're aggressive. They're a high energy, high chemistry team. Typically teams who do well in this tournament, but we'll see if they can keep it up. I think the biggest question for Auburn is Aiden Holloway. They were able to kind of build around him in the SEC tournament because he wasn't having his best games, and they were able to kind of pick him up and do things without him. So
I think
that was good to see.
the good thing about Aiden Holloway, even if he's not knocking down those threes, he's going to be a good facilitator for you. And then when you have a guy like Denver Jones out there at the same time who's been playing so well recently, I think you can recover from maybe not getting the 3-point shot you're expecting from Holloway coming in as a recruit. I think that the play of Trey Donaldson, if he's on, the play of Denver Jones from behind the arc, and sometimes even Janai Broom this season has been knocking down
he's
from
been
back there.
impressive
So
from 3-point line. So that's actually been interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's time to dance. We'll just have to
oh,
see.
please no, I can't dance.
Well, not us, because yeah, we're both very incapable of dancing.
I tell you what, if this somehow manages to get over 3,000 likes in some alternate universe, we'll release a video of us dancing.
Yeah, and y'all get to pick the song, what dance. I mean, y'all, we can choreograph this thing or just wing it. Up to y'all, whatever y'all want to do. But I'm very down for that. Yeah, we can arrange that. I'd love to see that actually. But yeah, I mean, we'll have more coverage next Tuesday. May have some shorts and TikToks if something big happens to share with y'all, our takes and opinions. But other than that, I mean, nothing to do now but sit on our couch for a month straight and just watch basketball.
Yes.